But tell us what good she's done. That was what you came on for. I'm giving you the opportunity to redress the perceived imbalance you see in the press. So tell me what good she's done.
Well, mention it in the fact I considered that she'd brought down unemployment.
Well, she hasn't, Mark, let me tell you that she has not. Even the Tory government don't claim that she's brought down unemployment. Even the Tory government do not lie. They will tell you that unemployment is now greater than when she came into office originally. That is not reduction, that is increase. So, what's your next point, Mark?
Well, do you know what it's like to have lived in poverty, Alan?
I'm not even bothered whether that's important or not. You said she's done such wonderful things. I'm asking you to tell me what they are. The only one you've told me so far is very, very definitely wrong.
She's given us a happy family for once.
She's given you a happy family. Well,
we were in
Rippy.
poverty until she came in.
Round of applause. She's made one.
For you to sit there saying not getting paid thousands a year.
Mark. The fact that she's made one family happy.
No, there's many.
Mark, I'm sorry. You've not yet proved your case. I've given you every opportunity. I'm going to give you one final opportunity to tell me something that she has done of value for this country.
Made families happy, and I'm going to vote for Thatcher for the rest of my life, and that's about all I can say.
Well, I don't think she'll be there for the rest of your life,
She's going to be there till the next century, I know that.
You know that, do you? It seems to me, Mark, that you base everything on invalidated opinion.
I believe, Alan.
Well, yes, but you can believe what you like. All I'm saying to you is that your beliefs are based on guesses, and guesses aren't enough for me.
Not guesses, the facts that I know are true.
I see. When I asked you whether you knew what the figure was for unemployment when she came in, you said you didn't know.
I wasn't very old. I was only 16 now. I was only 7 then.
I see. And how old are you now?
16.
Let me tell you, nothing's happened in between, or in terms of your accumulation of knowledge, very little has.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding.
Whether you're planning to buy a new Ford, Lada or Citroen, John Wilding now has all the latest models of all 3 of these makes in stock and waiting for you to test drive. Alternatively, if you're looking at fully guaranteed used, you won't find a better choice than at John Wilding's 2 fabulous showrooms on the A6 at Garstang for Ford and at Westgate Morecambe for Lada and Citroen.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
Along Blackpool prom, don't wear out your shoes. Take the beachcomber service on the baby blues. From Ginn Square to Pontins, buy a ticket to ride. 8 buses an hour, morning to night.
Take the Baby Blues along Blackpool Prom for 30 pence, or buy a weekly ticket for £3. Baby Blues stop at all the recognised bus stops from June 29th.
You just can't beat the baby blues.
If the roof caves in or you need a new bin, get yourself down to Fairwood. Need a new front door or tiles on the floor, get yourself down to Fairwood. If the front gate squeaks or the radiator leaks or the house needs a lick of paint, then nail it, screw it, you know you can do it yourself with Fairwood. Need a tin of grout or a new downspout, do it yourself with Fairwood. Patio flags and cement in bags, do it yourself with Fairwood. Keep the weather out, insulate the house, you can save yourself on mint. Just nail it, screw it, you know you can do it yourself with Fairwood.
At Cemetery Road Southport, Higgins Lane Burscough, and now at Market Woods Wigan Road West Horton.
How do, Pete?
Good evening, Alan. You said to an earlier caller that Triumph motorcycles haven't been made for quite some time. In fact, they are still in production.
That's right. They're making about 3 a week or something. Is it 7 a week?
It's not a large number, but they were taken over by Les Harris down in Devon after the Meriden Cooperative went bust.
Right then. But it's still cocked up his joke.
Oh yeah.
That's what we were doing. But yes, thank you for that.
Okay.
How do, Robert?
Alan?
Yes.
When I was coming home from pub this evening, I got hit by a few thugs. And I wanted to know if I could do anything because I recognised one of them. What can
you
I
could
claim?
cry.
Could I?
Yeah, have a good weep. It'll do you good. How do, line 2? How very poetic. How do, Paul?
How do, Alan? How do?
Yes, we've done that.
Yeah. I've got a problem. I'm wondering if you can help with it, please.
Well, tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a maggot farm near us, and it stinks periodically. I mean, tonight was one of those nights, and it stank the village out. And I mean, we've all tried.
What have you tried?
We've phoned and written to the council. Most of the neighbours have as well, and the council turned up a couple of days later saying they couldn't smell anything. Then we get a letter from the council trying to convince us that it's pig muck. But I mean, anyone who lives round here can tell the difference between pig muck and maggots when they smell it.
Everyone?
Just about, yeah.
Strange way of passing the time. Still, we almost occupy our minds somehow. I suggest you write to your local MP.
We have done.
And what did he say?
Anything.
Why not?
Well, he tried, but
why couldn't he do
got
anything?
done.
I asked you why he couldn't do anything.
I don't know.
Write
He
to
did
him
try.
again. Write to him again and find out why he couldn't.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
Howdy. Ben.
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'm making some inquiries about my daughter. She's on shift work, and she doesn't get no shift allowance. She's old enough to do shift work. She's asked about a shift allowance, and she's been told she's going to get it. This was 8 weeks ago.
Is she in a trades union?
Yep.
Get on to
The union have taken it up with her.
Well, in that case, stay with the union.
They already said she is going to get it.
Well, stick with the union.
Is that all you can do, right?
Well, what else do you want to do?
I mean, what I can't...
What else do you want to do?
Well...
What else do you want to do?
Well, she's old enough to do shift work, isn't she, Alan?
What else do you want her to do, was the question.
Well, what can
The trade union is acting on her behalf. What do you want done instead?
Well...
What do you want done instead?
Well, I just want some information off you.
Well, the information is you'd be better off sticking with the union. How do... Tommy.
Hello, Alan. Did you know that Pythagoras believed that men's souls enter broad beans after death?
How do Basid.
Hello.
Yes.
All right. You answered a caller quite earlier on, quite curtly, about the results of the Tory government. Now you seem to blame them for all this unemployment.
I haven't blamed them for it.
Well, I'd like to put you right, actually.
I haven't blamed them for it.
Well, actually, I think you rather...
I haven't blamed them for it.
You're rather pointing it to the fact that it could have been their fault.
I haven't blamed them for it.
Would you agree with me that perhaps...
Excuse me, Basid.
Yeah?
What did the caller say?
Actually, the caller...
What did the caller say?
I think he was trying to answer to you...
I'm not interested in what he think. I'm interested in what he said. Tell me what he said, Basid.
Well, he just happened to say that perhaps the Tory government...
He didn't say perhaps, Basid. Tell me what he said, Basid.
Well, if you're going to ask me like that, I will say that he asked you that...
he told me something, Basid. Tell me what he told me.
What he told you was, if you answer like that...
Just get on with it, Basid.
Right, what he said was that perhaps...
He didn't say perhaps, Basid. Tell me what he told me to be a fact. What he saw as a fact.
That the Tory government has done its best to take down unemployment.
That is not what he said, Basid.
Yes, he did. What did
no,
he say then?
did not.
What did he say then, Alan?
He said Mrs. Thatcher has reduced unemployment.
What do you think of that, then?
I don't think of it at all. I know that the statement is wrong.
Well, actually, perhaps do you
perhaps
think...
he is wrong, Basid.
Do you think to yourself...
Basid, is he right or wrong?
What do you think, Alan?
Is he right or wrong?
What do you think, Alan?
Good night, Basid. How do Des?
Alan?
Yes.
Because, you know, Iran-Contra affair in America?
Yes.
What's it all about? Can you tell me?
It's about the president...
Yeah.
Allegedly, certainly his officers, whether they did it with his knowledge or not, selling arms to Iran in order to secure the release of hostages that were held in Lebanon, and then getting the money from Iran, banking it in a Swiss bank to give to the Contras in Nicaragua to buy more arms.
So
that's what it's all about.
Is that all it is?
Well, you say that's all it is. It is a direct breach of American law by the president, if that's what it is. It may not be much to you, but the Yanks are pretty pigged off about it.
So do you think it's a bad thing or a good thing?
I think it is a bad thing when the president of a state, or the prime minister of a state, or the ruler of a state, whatever their term, whatever their term of reference, breaks the laws of that land. It's rather like the prime minister breaking British law. She hasn't done, I'm not accusing her of that, but that is what it's like.
Well, what's going in Nicaragua?
A bit of a skirmish.
A fight against communism.
That is what Reagan defines it as.
Yeah.
That isn't what others define it as. In Nicaragua, there is an elected government. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit the President of the United States. When the government of your country does not suit the President of the United States, he tries to get permission to invade you. If he's then forbidden that permission by Congress, he then sells arms to your enemies. It's called imperialism everywhere else. It's rather like the Russians don't like what's going on in Afghanistan. They didn't like the government, so they went in and invaded.
Yeah.
The Americans don't like what's going on in Nicaragua, so they're thinking of supplying arms in order to get a civil war going.
Do you think it might be Vietnam, a second Vietnam?
No, it won't, because Congress won't let him, that's President Reagan, into, or let the American troops be directed there.
Well, a lot of people say it could be a second Watergate. Do you think it might be?
Well, it won't be a second Watergate, but it might be the first Iran-gate.
Yeah.
But we have to wait and see.
Okay, anyway, thanks a lot, Alan.
Pleasure. How do nobody? Yes, we will. We'll go to line 2. Who's on 2, Rod? How do Lee?
Hello?
Yes.
Alan, I believe that in Australia, a child under 16 can divorce its parents. And I think it's a good idea and should come to Britain.
Do you not like your parents?
They're alright.
If you were under 16 and you divorced your parents, to use your terminology, and when I was in Australia I never heard of that, but I'm prepared to accept it. They are puddled after all. If that were the case, what would you do to eat?
Well, the welfare takes care of you.
Oh, I see. So you just say, I don't want to live here anymore, I'm going to live with the welfare.
Yeah.
It'd have to be pretty bad parents to get me to give them up and go and live with the welfare. How do another Lee?
Hello, Al?
Yes.
Do you know when big companies like British Airways sell shares? Do you
Turn
think
your Lee, turn your radio off.
Turn the radio off.
Go on.
Right. Do you know when big companies like British Airways sell shares?
Yes.
Do you think they're only doing it to make more money?
Well, of course they're doing it to make money.
Yeah, but if it's a great big company like that, and they're getting, I don't know how many passengers a year, well,
First of all, when British Airways was privatised, in other words, when the massive share launch took place last year, or earlier this year, I think it was. Yes, it was earlier this year. British Airways didn't get the money, the government did, because they were the ones that owned British Airways.
And don't British Airways get none of that money?
No.
Why not?
Because they weren't the owners of the shares. The government was the owner. If I sell you my bike, I get the money, yes? Because it's my bike. But if I sell you somebody else's bike, whoever bike it is gets the money, or should do.
You know that, but...
Well, the shares were owned by the government. The company, British Airways, was a government company. The government decided to devolve itself of ownership of that company, and they did so by selling it to anyone that wanted to buy it. They divided it into little lumps called shares, and everybody that wanted to bought a lump, and then the government got the money. So those people who bought the shares now own British Airways.
Yeah, but how come all the advertisements then was for British Airways, not the government?
Well, it was the British Airways share sale. Shares in British Airways were what were being sold. But who was selling them is irrelevant. They were being sold by the government. The people that owned them were doing the selling. When you see an advert for a washing powder, they don't tell you who owns it. They don't tell you if you go out and buy Purcell, you're actually buying a product and giving money to Lever Brothers. They tell you you're buying Purcell. They were selling the product, not the owner.
All right.
All right. How do Brett?
How do on?
Yes.
I'd like to talk about the speed limit in front of our house on a main road. We've written to the parish council.
What is the speed limit?
Well, it is 60 miles an hour at the moment.
Yes.
We haven't got one.
Well, you either have or you haven't. Which is it?
It's 60 miles an hour.
Well, you have got one then.
Well, I think it's too high.
Well, fine. But you said we haven't got one, and then you told me what it was.
Yeah, right.
So we've established that you have got one, and it's 60.
Yeah, stand corrected.
Quite right too.
Right. Well, we've written to them several times, and there has been children killed on the road with because there's a pub nearby with drunken drivers speeding. and people during the day coming down the hill. And they still won't give us a speed limit because they keep saying that the housing isn't a measured mile, so we're not, that we can't have one. And I don't think this is right because there's been children killed and numerous dogs and cats and other types of animals on the road killed. So
The dogs and cats that get killed, I'm not bothered about. A, the dogs shouldn't be out, and cats should have more sense.
Yeah, I know, but what about these children?
And the children I'm bothered about. I suggest you get a committee together and try to bring pressure on your local council or your county council or whoever's bit of road it is. I think it's the county council. But you'll need a committee. One person writing's no good.
No,
All right?
we got the whole village to sign a petition, and lots of other people that we asked to write did, and they still say that they won't give us a speed limit.
We'll get your local MP involved. All right?
Right, thanks a lot.
Cheers. How did John?
Hello, Alan. Have you ever wondered why women have legs?
No.
Have you?
How do Chris?
How do Alan?
Yes?
I was talking to you last night.
You're talking to me now. What do you want?
Well, I rung you up last night.
I know. I want to know what you want now, or you can get off.
Well, I was talking about...
I want to know what you want now, or you can get off. This is your last chance.
I would like a discussion with you, live, on the show.
We know how it operates. Tell me what the discussion is about.
Well, I'd like a discussion with you on your programme.
Tell me what it's about.
Anything.
Yeah, I can't have one other than the one you've just had. How do Pauline?
Hello.
Yes.
I'm ringing about what you said about Margaret Thatcher not doing any good.
I haven't said she didn't do any good.
The Tories.
I haven't said she didn't do any good. None of us said the Tories didn't do any good.
Well, you were on about unemployment.
Yes.
Right. Can you remember a few years ago, back to 1974, when the miners went on strike?
Yes.
Can you remember a lot of unemployment before then? Because I can't. Now, the miners went on strike, and they caused havoc in this country. Do you agree?
There was certainly some problem, yes.
Yeah. Right, well, the miners went on strike. Anyway.
There was a Tory government in power then, wasn't there?
Well, they went on...
Well, a simple yes or no, would
Yes.
they? Yes, go on.
Right. They went on strike to get the Tories out. Then, a few years later... they got the Labour in then. A few years later, they went on strike.
Excuse me a
with
minute.
Labour.
It wasn't the miners that got Labour in. The country got Labour in.
Well, there was a vote of no
Yes, I know.
confidence.
No, there wasn't a vote of no confidence. However, it wasn't the miners that got Labour in. Wasn't the miners in at all. It
Well-
was the general public that voted for Labour.
Yeah, but basically, more or less due to the miners' strike.
Well,
Now-
you must make your own decision as to that.
Yeah,
I don't
well-
know why people vote the way they do.
A few years later, Labour were in, and the miners went on strike again.
The winter
Right.
of discontent.
Yeah, right.
Go on, with Mr. Callaghan.
Yeah, so people voted again. Got Maggie Thatcher in, the Tories, whatever you want to call it.
Go on.
Now, one thing that Margaret Thatcher does agree with is open cast mining. And open cast mining, believe it or not, saved us through all that winter of that year's strike by the miners again. And most
It depends on your definition of saved us, but go on.
well, it saved us, the miners hitting the country as they did before.
Well, again, it
The
depends.
only
It
thing
depends
they-
on what you mean by saved us. And the coal being burnt in Britain at that time was not all from open cast mines.
I'm not saying it was all from open cast mining.
Fine, go on. So
But-
all that coal, if saved us is the right term, the coal from all different sources was what saved us. But I don't accept the term saved us. But will you kindly tell me what point you're trying to make? Because we're
What
running
I'm
out of time.
trying to say is Labour do not agree with open cast mining.
That is wrong.
It isn't.
It is.
It isn't.
I'm sorry, it is.
I'm sorry, it isn't.
Well,
but my
you're obviously a
hang
fool.
on.
Tell me
No.
why Labour disagrees with open cast mining. Where is this statement made?
Where is it made?
I asked you first.
I live in...
Tell me where the statement is made. Labour is a national political party. Tell me where in the National Political Party's statement
Well,
is
the
it we are
local
against
Labour
open
Party
cast mining?
where I live.
Not interested in the local Labour Party. Tell me
totally-
what the Labour policy against open cast mining is. Tell me where it comes from. Tell me where it's written down, where it's been said.
Well, I don't know that.
Neither do I, and I'll tell you why you and I don't know, because it doesn't exist. They are not against open cast mining. Indeed, the Labour Party, when it was in government, actually started 2 open cast mines under the auspices of the National Coal Board, which somewhat defeats your point of view.
Well,
It may be that the local Labour Party in your area is against a particular open cast mine. That will be an entirely different issue. It may be against that mine for all sorts of reasons, but the Labour Party has no policy against open cast mining.
All I can say is the coal board, right, in the area where I live, which is
not far from Wigan. Yes, go on.
is sorry about my clock.
It's all right. It's a very nice clock.
The coal board has bought an awful lot of land.
Yes.
It actually owns that for open cast.
And it wants to do an open cast mine, and the local council is against it.
Yes.
Yes. Why is the local council against it?
Well, the Tories aren't.
Why is the local council in its majority against it?
It's not. It's a hung council.
Okay. Well, don't go away.
the-
We shall talk to you the other side of the news.
Right.
Consolidate your thoughts. You're going to need them.
Midnight News, this is Alan King. 3 children in the Teesside sex abuse row tonight being stopped from going home to their parents, despite a court ruling that they could. Magistrates had decided that the 2 girls and their brother could be released from council care because the allegations that they'd been sexually abused were not strong enough. But late tonight, social service chiefs took legal action and blocked the family reunion between the children and their parents. The move came as the senior police surgeon in Cleveland made an astonishing attack on the hospital consultant who'd been accusing parents of sexual abuse. Dr. Alistair Irvin says the consultant, Dr. Marietta Higgs, is pointing the finger at innocent people.
I have been involved over the last 3 months at all levels, trying to persuade Dr. Higgs of her errors, but she is unmoved. She has not been very polite, and I don't believe she's behaved in a very professional way towards us. She has not been prepared to listen. She's running a closed shop, and she's making significant diagnostic mistakes. Innocent parents and non-abused children are being diagnosed as abused or abusers.
The Liberals are to urge their SDP partners to hold a joint ballot of their members on the future of the alliance. Liberal leader David Steele insists the only future is a total merger. He says any half-baked compromises would be doomed to failure. But Mr. Steele insists he's not pushing himself forward as leader of the new party.
Let's, for heaven's sake, keep the personalities out of it at the moment and concentrate on getting the institutions right. The mood of our meeting was that they want to respond to the clear desire of the 7 million people who voted for us, and perhaps even more who didn't vote for us, that we should now get this together in one really effective union.
3 soldiers have been slightly injured in a mortar attack on a West Belfast police station. At least 2 mortars were fired at the base, and several nearby houses had to be evacuated. The IRA say they carried out the attack. Scotland Yard have confirmed tonight that they're investigating a massive fraud involving phony mortgages. It's understood 10 different cases are being looked at involving up to £50 million. More than 1,000 properties are being investigated. It's believed the main fiddles have been involved in mortgaging the same properties several times. The investigation follows a similar one in Bristol. An unknown Australian has tonight had the odds on him winning Wimbledon drastically cut from 500 to 1 to 33 to 1 after he beat the reigning champion Boris Becker. Peter Doohan, who's ranked 70th in the world, defeated Becker in 4 sets. Doohan has never got beyond the first round before. Tonight, he says he's overwhelmed, especially by the excitement of the crowd at the end of the match.
The crowd were just going crazy. I didn't know what the crowd wanted me to do. I felt like the crowd wanted me to do something spectacular. I wasn't sure what to do. I was just in a moment of disbelief. And I thought I was going to throw my racket in the crowd, and then decided against it because I might have to use it next round. So decided not to do that.
Independent Radio News.
All the people to beat Becker, it had to be a flaming Aussie. Gordon Bennett, I took it all back. It's soon to have the Kraut one. Just after 3 minutes past midnight, welcome to Saturday.
Ring him if you dare. Allan Beswick, the late night show.
The weekend has begun with an insult against two nations. We can't ask for more than that. Preston 561,000, the phone number. We're back with Pauline in about 6 seconds.
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
That is. Now then, Pauline.
Hi.
So the local Labour councillors are against open cast mining in Coppell.
Well,
Why?
There already is.
Yes, there's already some.
Yeah,
Tell me
well,
why they're against it, Pauline.
Basically, I don't know. They're on about.
I was just about to say that I don't want your guess. I want to know what
Well,
they've said.
Well,
they're
when
against.
when they were fighting the election, they were putting all sorts of. They haven't exactly said why they're against it. They just stated that they're against it, and also the SDP. But what I say about open cast mining is the fact that you don't have the. You have a bit of a mess for a couple of years.
Pauline, a bit of a mess.
It's
a
not
bit
as
of
bad
a
as
mess.
the slag heap.
It is.
It isn't.
Because you get slag heaps as well, and it's going to be 7 years mess, not a bit of a mess for a couple of years.
How
love.
many years do you have a slag heap for?
It rather depends on when and where.
Well, there's places in Wales where they've had them for 50, 100 years. 100
Yes.
years. But
Pauline,
also with these
all you've done so far is tell me that the local Labour councillors in your area and SDP councillors in your area are against a particular open cast mine.
They're against them all over.
Well, all over your area. They're not against them generally. If they
Well-
are, they're out of order with their party.
Well, I've been to St Helens to public inquiries there because my husband works in the open cast mines.
I'd have never guessed. Do you know, it would have taken me 30 years to guess. It's incredible, isn't
No,
it?
well, he's had to
the
go-
people who are in favour of it are them that
No.
are going to have the jobs.
No,
The
no.
people who are against it are them that are going to have the crap on
I
their
live
doorstep.
on the doorstep.
Well, yes,
No,
I know, but
I
you won't
live
be living on the doorstep.
No.
You'll have to sell your house and go to a council
No,
house, will you?
those fields, right, were
Yeah.
that they've bought now.
Yeah.
They've been deep-seamed mined
Yeah.
for before.
Pauline,
And all there is
Pauline,
now is deep
Pauline.
shafts, and kiddies
Pauline.
are falling down them.
Pauline,
That's dangerous.
Pauline,
Yeah.
do you think that I'm meant to give credence to an argument put by someone who clearly has an axe to grind?
No,
Then I shan't.
I haven't got an axe to grind.
Oh, come on.
No,
It's what puts the food on your table, the food in your children's bellies.
No.
Of course
no,
it
that's
is.
wrong. That's wrong. Because my
It's
husband,
wrong. I thought you said your husband worked in the industry.
No, he works in plant. He works on the plant.
He works in open cast mining.
He's
That's his
done-
job. Tell me
No,
whether it's right
no.
or... Oh, you're now telling me you lied before.
No, I didn't.
Oh, so when you said before that he works in open cast mining,
Hang
that
on.
was true,
No.
but it wasn't a lie now that you said that he doesn't.
He works.
Does he or doesn't he?
Yes and no. If you give me a chance to explain.
Well, when you had the chance, under no pressure at all, your words were, my husband works in open cast mining. Those were the words
He has-
you had all the English language. There is a dictionary here with
Well,
nearly
sorry.
1,000 pages in it, and those were the
Alan.
words you chose. My
Alan.
husband works in open cast mining. Are you now saying that he doesn't?
He has done, and he will
Pauline,
do in
Pauline.
the future.
You said my husband works in open cast mining. Are you telling me that that statement at the second you made it was a lie?
No,
It was true. He does.
he's a plant operator.
Does he or doesn't he?
Oh, Alan, just
Pauline, Pauline,
can I just
Pauline.
answer you? Stop.
You will answer me,
Getting at
Pauline, with yes or no. Does your husband work in open cast mining?
On the mining
Does
side,
your
yes.
husband
Yes,
work
yes,
in... I'm
he
sorry,
drives
Pauline.
machines.
Pauline, I'm going to have you answering this question yes or no, or the conversation will not continue. The reason it's become so important is because you suddenly started telling me a lie.
No, I
Here is
didn't.
the question.
I don't lie, Alan.
Pauline, here is the question.
Right.
Does your husband work in open cast mining?
Yes.
Is it not therefore so that it is in your interest for your husband to continue to be in employment?
Yes.
Is it not therefore the case that it is in your financial interest for open cast mining to continue?
No.
Your husband would get work elsewhere, would he?
Yeah, he'd work on the roads.
On the roads?
Yeah, because as I was going to tell you...
So you don't mind if they don't open the open cast mining, as long as they put a road through your house? How do Russell?
Hello, Alan. Earlier
Yes.
on this evening, you had a gentleman ring up stating that he considered if families were reduced to, well, if couples were reduced to having one child, it would solve unemployment.
Yes.
I think this opinion is rather silly. He obviously isn't married or he hasn't got a family of his own.
Well, he was only 16. It's not been a lot of time for that, really.
Well, no, true. But wouldn't it be more constructive to try and produce jobs? For instance, we have a government in power now that have sold or saw fit to sell council houses and have done so to quite a degree throughout the country. Why isn't that money put in towards building new council houses and creating proper jobs instead of creating YTS schemes which at the end give people no hope and no chance of a job?
The simple answer is that they want that money on hand for other things. They're not prepared to let local authorities spend that money on building council houses because of a number of reasons, one of which is that they don't want council houses. They want private enterprise to build houses. The government is and has been for 2 terms of office totally committed to private enterprise. They do not want state-built housing because state-built housing is too expensive.
I appreciate this. Obviously, yes, perhaps it is too expensive.
There's no perhaps about it. In comparison to private enterprise-built housing, it is exorbitant in cost.
But does that solve a situation where there are people at the moment who are living in guest houses, paid for by the social...
Overnight, it doesn't solve it, and one of the reasons it hasn't been solved so far, this government would argue, is that the housing legislation created by their opposite predecessors has deterred private enterprise from building rented accommodation.
Yes, I appreciate that.
So this government is working towards changing that and recreating what it perceives as a free market.
Yes.
And it doesn't want that free market interfered with in advance by local authorities building council houses willy-nilly at exorbitant prices.
Fine, but as we've already stated tonight on the programme, that doesn't directly help unemployment.
It doesn't directly help it, no, but any fictitious help that it receives isn't any real help at all. Our government believes that to create jobs just for the purpose of creating jobs is unproductive and will not reduce unemployment in the long term. They believe that the only fit and proper way to reduce unemployment is with the market economy, and once the free market economy reduces unemployment, and there is evidence to say that it is doing so, although overall the Tory government has been in power over an increase, or has had an increase in unemployment during its period of offices, the fact still remains that the figures are now coming down. Whatever yardstick you use, they're now coming down. The government would argue that they're coming down as a result of their free enterprise policies, and that they will continue to come down, and once they come down to, if you like, 0, or 1 million, or an acceptable level, they will stay there because they have not been reduced unrealistically. They've been reduced with genuine policies, genuine reductions, real jobs.
Yeah, it's all right creating real jobs through private enterprise, but over going on for 9 years now that she's been in power, as you say, the unemployment rate hasn't really fluctuated that much. If anything, it has increased.
Well, it has fluctuated. It has increased. It has increased fairly substantially. But one of the reasons it increased substantially is because it was still getting rid of jobs that were unrealistically created. There were jobs in British Telecom, which people have been made redundant from recently. Jobs in the car industry. When you went out and bought a car, you paid less tax than the government paid to have the car built, if you bought a British Leyland car, because of the subsidies. So in other words, I go out and buy a car for £6,000, 1,000 of it is government money, 800 of it is tax. The government loses 200 quid on every car made. What's the point of that?
There's no point in having a...
Well, that's what they've done then. They've got rid of all that kind of thing, and they're now working towards getting rid of still more of these uneconomic jobs and replacing them with real free enterprise jobs. Makes sense. Takes time, but it makes sense.
It does take time,
And it makes sense.
to a certain extent, yes.
Glad you agree. How do, Jean?
Hello?
Yes?
Hello, Alan. Can you help me? Right, I'm 16, and I want to know why at 18 you're classed as an adult, but I have to pay adult fares on the bus.
Because the guy who makes the rules for the buses doesn't run the country. How do, Carl?
Hello, Alan. Do you know your surname? Is it Beswick or Beswick?
It's the same. It's both of those. Those are just pronunciations or pronunciations of a spelling, B-E-S-W-I-C-K. The true pronunciation is Bessick, but nobody ever remembers that. How do, Bradwell? Can't hear you. Sorry, it's a dreadful line. You'll have to ring us back. Stephen, you're next.
For sale, classified advertising space in the Red Rose Advertiser. Black and white, very tidy, excellent condition, genuine reason for sale. Wanted classified advertisers. Items up to the value of £35 cost just £1 for up to 12 words, and 30p a word for anything over £35. Write or call in with your cash or cheque to Red Rose Radio, or ring Preston 202000. Sell it in the Red Rose Advertiser.
I bless the day I found you.
The Everly Brothers. After more than 10 years apart, they're back together again, in concert. The Everly Brothers Reunion Concert. Teledisc are proud to bring you the Everly Brothers Reunion Concert. A triple album box set of their greatest hits, including Cattish Clown, Walk Right Back, The Price of Love, and more. 2 hours of the sweetest voices on earth, recorded live in London's Royal Albert Hall and digitally mastered for the best quality sound. The Everly Brothers Reunion Concert, 33 songs you'll remember forever, including 5 never-before-released tracks. A very special evening captured live on 3 records or 2 cassettes. Yours for $14.99, including postage and packing. Only from Teledisc and not in any shops.
I'll do my crying in the rain to take a lot of pain.
Order now, and we'll also send you a souvenir photo program guide. To order, call us on 051 708 7676. That number again, 051 708 7676.
How do, Stephen?
Oh, hello, Alan. If
Yeah.
you listen to me, I'd like to prove God's existence to you.
I'll listen, but you will take no longer than 2 minutes.
Okay. Right. If I have special contacts with God, you see, right? And I...
Don't ask me any questions, you're proving things. I don't want any more questions. Just 2 minutes,
okay,
prove
okay,
it.
Okay. So, I'm going to make God appear, right? Because God said to me, right?
If you ask me
All
any
right,
more...
no more questions, no more
Right.
questions.
Off you go.
He said to me that, do I know any atheists? So I said, yeah, Allan Beswick.
Well, you were wrong.
Sorry?
Don't be sorry, be accurate. You were wrong.
Oh.
I am not an atheist.
All right, then forget that.
No?
Okay, then, go on, explain.
Well, I'm not an atheist. If you are going to lie to your God, and your God is not going to point out to you that you are lying, then I don't think much of him or her.
Well, can I carry on now?
If you wish.
All right. Now, if you think hard enough, right?
You're asking me questions.
You'll just think hard enough.
No, you've asked me a question. You said you weren't going to. It seems you are a liar after all. Have another go.
Okay,
You're going to prove it, remember?
yeah.
Well, let's see you prove it.
You think hard enough.
I'm not going to get involved in this. You're going to prove it.
God will appear in your...
You're going to prove it.
Well,
You're going to prove
I said
it.
you have to listen to me and cooperate.
No, you said listen. Cooperate is down to you. I'm not cooperating with anything. If you want to convince me, convince me.
I'm trying, but I've changed it now. You have to cooperate.
Well, I'm not going to.
Well, I can't prove it then.
Good night, then.
Good night.
You have been Beswicked.
Why is it that God has only got the Prats on his side? How do, Robert?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I'd like to speak about sideband, if I may, if you know what that is.
You're going to tell me.
Yeah, well, see, on these things called CBs, well, there's the FM frequency, the AM frequency, and the sideband frequency.
What is sideband?
Sideband is another frequency.
No, it isn't. Tell me about it.
Well, it's a separate frequency from AM and FM.
There are no separate frequencies from AM and FM.
They are.
I think it's either amplitude modulated or frequency modulated.
Well, it's near enough AM, see, but AM...
Well, it either is or it isn't.
Pardon?
It either is or it isn't.
Okay, then it's AM. It is run on AM. But on these rigs which have these frequencies...
What is a rig?
A rig is like a radio set.
It's like a radio set.
Well, it is a radio set.
Fine. Use language I understand. I don't talk in Cretins Broadcasting jargon on this programme.
Oh, right. Right.
Don't be sorry, be correct, or be off.
Okay. Well, the use of sideband and AM in Britain is prohibited due to the watts.
It's prohibited, full stop.
Yes, prohibited, full stop then. But FM is legal.
I know.
Well, I think that Britain should legalise these frequencies in order to keep up with other EEC countries and the states and other countries around the world which are legal, because they don't cause any interference.
I don't think... Well, they do cause interference. You're wrong.
But suppress
You're wrong. They do cause interference.
Well,
they do.
I have one of these.
I'm sorry, they do cause... All right, yours doesn't. But AM frequencies are frequently cluttered and interfered with. That is a fact. If you're going to lie to me, you might as well go elsewhere.
True, but...
So they do cause interference.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but they do they not?
They can do.
They can. Well, not supposed to.
Well, they can do.
They do, don't they?
Necessarily.
They do, don't they? Sometimes they don't, but often they do.
Well, just let me get
Sometimes they
back to the
don't,
point.
and often they do. Is that correct, or is
Okay,
it not
that's correct. Just let
Thank
me
you.
get back.
Good night. How do Stephen?
Oh, good evening. Good morning, Alan. My wife had a baby last week.
I deny everything.
Pardon?
I deny everything.
Deny what?
It was a joke. Go on.
Oh, go on. And you know when they stitch him up, a doctor left a swab in. Now, several days later, she realised it was there. The midwife took it out. Now she's got infection. Now, how can we do something about this so we don't do it to any other patients?
Well, it was probably a mistake, and the chances of preventing that happening to other patients are nil, but if you sued him, it might draw his attention to it. All right?
Yeah, how would you go about that, do you know?
Get a lawyer.
Yeah.
How do Nicholas?
Hello, Alan.
Yes, how old are you?
18.
18?
Yeah.
What year were you born?
68.
Really? When's your birthday?
69, sorry.
Oh, you don't know when you're born? It's
6th of the 5th, 69.
Simple. I see. Funny you thought it was 68, isn't it? It's strange how these people make these mistakes. How do John?
Hello.
Yes.
I'd like to talk about security dogs and police dogs. The importance of having these dogs in our country.
Police dogs, you won't turn your radio off now.
Right. So.
You won't get any argument about the necessity for police dogs. Let's hear about security dogs, because you'll get all the argument in the world there.
Well, I believe that a security dog is as important as a police dog, given the correct training.
Why?
Pardon?
Why?
Well, a security dog is doing exactly what a police dog does. Only
It's not being
private.
It's not being controlled by a policeman. It's being
controlled by a
some
handler who does the same job as a policeman.
No, he doesn't.
On site.
No, he doesn't.
Well, he's guarding
No, he
premises,
doesn't.
which
I'm
is
sorry.
what police
He
do.
may well be guarding the premises. A padlock can do that, and that is hardly the role of a policeman. I do not trust private security firms or their employees.
Well, why is that then?
Because they're not fit to be trusted.
Well, not anybody can get a security job. I've got a security
Listen,
job, but
pal,
if I had a criminal record, then I wouldn't have got this job, would I?
You may well not have got that one, but you could have done at other security firms, I promise you.
Well, how do you work that out when they vet you?
I don't care whether they vet you or not. Listen, there are people who are ex-convicts that run security firms. So don't be giving me all that garbage. I don't need it.
Right.
I do not trust private security firms. Full stop. There are some that could, in time, earn my trust. But if I see a private security guard, I see a person that I do not trust. And I do not want them having dogs or anything else. I want them banned.
Well, why would you agree? Why would you want them banned so
Because I do
strongly?
not trust them.
Well, they're there to serve a purpose, surely.
So also are many other things that I don't trust. They are there to serve a purpose. They are there as, on a good day, second best.
Second best to what?
Police.
But where's the police when needed? So therefore,
The police
in the
are
interest
not,
of
the
protecting
police,
your own premises, you've got to get security.
Listen, a policeman is a highly trained individual, costing the country a lot of money. A security guard at about £5 bob an hour. You can get a dozen of them for £1. You can get a shallow load for £5. They're worth as much as they get, and they get god-awful money. The reason they go, I actually think some of them are overpaid, the quality of them, even though they work all night for peanuts. I have always held the belief that if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, and they pay peanuts to private security individuals. The consequence is inevitable. They get monkeys. I'm sorry, but I do not trust private security.
Right. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure. How do Marcus?
Hi, Alan.
Yes?
How are you doing?
What's it to you?
I'd like to support...
Well, hold it!
Pardon?
You've just asked me how I am. I want to know why you want to know.
Because I'm just concerned, you know.
Well, you didn't wait for a pigging answer. You're not that concerned, are you?
Of course I am.
No, you're not, else you'd have waited for the answer. Get off coming in here with your tuppenny-halfpenny ideas. How do, Archibald?
How do, Alan? How are you, son?
What do you want to know for?
Well, I just hope you're alright.
Well, your hopes are your own.
Well, I want to talk about psychic phenomena, if I may.
Well, if you know that much about it, you'd know how I was.
Well, no, I've had a very weird experience.
I don't doubt it.
Can I please speak about it? I might change your views about...
Well, I doubt that you will, but you're welcome to try.
Well, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I thoroughly agree with you about your...
Just tell me what happened.
Well, it was pretty bad, actually.
I haven't got all night. I don't... You were in your neighbour's what?
House.
House, very good.
I saw some flying objects, you know, like cups and saucers. You're really scared. Now, I know this might sound stupid, but there's definitely a psychic being present.
Fine.
Now, this time I was getting really scared. I just never believed in all that rubbish. I thoroughly agree with you.
I'm falling...